I rhyme for my life, I rhyme for my pay, I rhyme for my people out here doing it every day. I rhyme for the raw heads, I rhyme to the beat. I rhyme for the ears that be keeping it to the street. I rhyme for my life, I rhyme for my pay. I rhyme for the people out here doing it every day. I rhyme for the raw heads, I rhyme to the beat. I rhyme for the ears that be keeping it to the street. The underground overlord coming to town. Oh my God, raw heads, you know my squad, real shit, no facade.
Hey everybody, I'm Randy Silvis.
And I'm Tony Mollick.
Welcome to a new chapter in the Slotrod universe.
Or we could also say we're going back to the first chapter of the Slotrod universe.
Everything old is new again.
Since we began this journey in 2020, the evolution of what we call a slot rod has grown exponentially.
Yeah, what Tony's trying to say is they're getting faster and faster.
What'd I say?
The standard of what it meant to compete became greater and greater as we went.
What used to take us 3 seconds now takes about 1.
The tires and the motors got bigger, the frames got lighter and lighter, and some cars even had front wheels that looked like the buttons off their suit jacket.
It's begun to feel like we're getting further and further away from our original concept.
It was time to get back to our roots.
It's time to get back to the streets.
So it's time to split these hot rods into 2 divisions. Our current 50K motored, homemade aluminum framed 1-second cars are going to be in a division we're calling the Experimental Pro Mod Division.
And we're going to start a strictly street class division where the motors will top out at 40K, and you'll also be restricted to 3 types of chassis.
We're going to allow H&R chassis, Womp chassis, or a drag chassis from ProTrack. The only modification to the frame is to allow for a bigger crown gear. We're going to enforce the 1/8 axles on both back and front wheels. And those will have to be adorned with a tire made of rubber, silicone, or urethane at a minimum of 12 millimeters by 27 millimeters in size.
And those 4 tires will all have to bear the weight of the car.
And these things have to look like street cars. If you need it on a real car, it should be on your slot rod.
We're not going to enforce side mirrors because they only come off on the first time you go down the track, and that would just drive everybody crazy.
However, you will have to have head and tail lights, front and rear glass. If the car came with a grille, it needs to be on the car.
And if the car was meant to have bumpers, they should be on the car.
However, some cars don't have bumpers, and some cars, when traditionally converted into race cars, the bumpers would be omitted.
Such as the Henry J. Gasser, or the 8-Ball, or the Willys that Mark Rendos runs. Any of those cars would just not look like they were race cars if they had bumpers on them. So, we're going to start out trying it this way. If your car is a 1949 or earlier, you can omit your bumpers. 1950 and forward will have to have the OEM style bumpers on the car if it came with bumpers.
On this first night of the new division, we're just doing some old-fashioned grudge races, just to see what everybody's bringing to the table.
Whew. Okay, folks, that's a lot of information.
Yeah, let's get to the fun part. Our first race of the night, we have Moxie versus the Eliminator. The Eliminator is one of the few cars that are going to be running in both classes.
Apparently some of the racers managed to get chassis ready to race in the new division, but they're going to have to be doing some body swapping tonight.
And the first race ever in this new division is a double jump.
If it was any other way, it just wouldn't be us.
First is worst, and the Eliminator was first. Moxie for the win.
Race 2, a couple of OG 724 cars if ever there were. Drew Hull in his 8-Ball in the left lane versus my 59 Stingray called Prince in the right.
Rolling.
And the 8-Ball fishtails off the starting line, letting Prince escape.
Looks like Drew gathered it up about the 150-foot mark, but it was too little too late.
Up next, Brian Kane in Blue Bayou versus Snakebite.
Rolling.
Blue Bayou was sleeping, and Snakebite was not sleeping, and that gives Snakebite the win.
Up next, we have Flamethrower from the 412 versus Alley Cat from Motown. Dude,
Did not start, but Flamethrower immediately pulled ahead by about a half a car.
by the finish line, Flamethrower managed to stretch that into 2 cars. Flamethrower for the win.
Up next, Mark Rendos in his concept Corvette called Spearmint versus Randy and Dr. Hemi.
Yeah, I was sleeping at the light this time, Tony.
Didn't look like he lost or gained anything on you once you gathered it up.
And your winner is Spearmint. Up next, Annette Kane in her Porsche called 911 versus Tony in a car we haven't seen in a while, the original OG Batmobile.
With all the body work we had to do to get her back on the road, we had to put some color change paint over that black finish.
So trying to put a little class into street class.
And the first pun in our new show goes to Randy Silvas.
Now that's a drag race. Huh, looks like Annette was starting to come around you by camera too.
And she managed to put about a 3-car spread on me by the finish line.
Our next race is the street class version of Jangalang versus Unleash.
And another great drag race.
Yeah, look at the fireworks display under the front of both cars.
They were within a fender of each other at camera 2.
Well, Unleash was first into the catch bin.
Unleash started pulling away in the first 100 feet, and that car was just hitting its stride.
Unleashed for the win. Up next, a couple of 412 cars that want to test each other out. The Old's in the left lane, Bob to the right.
Yep.
That was a good close race. Olds for the win, but he could not gap Bob.
Up next, Prince versus Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou knocked the tires off at the starting line, but immediately gathered it back up. And they were neck and neck right around camera 2.
Prince might have been running a little better if it wouldn't have had that fireworks display under the front end. Blue Bayou takes it by 1 car.
Up next, the OG Batmobile versus Snakebite.
A start so nice I had to say it twice. Now that's a drag race.
They looked like they ran side by side the whole way down.
Snakebite for the win.
Up next is the Alley Cat versus the Olds.
Man, it looks like the cars are getting faster with every race.
And our closest race of the night, the Olds takes it by a nose.
Did you see that? About 1 car past the finish line, the Alley Cat came around.
Up next, Spearmint versus Flamethrower.
Another beautiful race.
flamethrower showed that he was definitely the more experienced car.
Yeah, Rob Trumpy has that car broke in well.
Up next, Bob versus Dr. Hemi.
Well, he doesn't work as Android.
Dr. Hemi got the jump. He was about half car ahead of Bob Camera, too.
But Bob was coming around fast and slingshot ahead for the win. Up next, the 8-ball versus Jangalang.
Drew changed over to big tires between races. Let's see if that does anything for him.
It definitely got Drew off the line a little faster, but that old 8-ball ain't been running a while. She needs a little TLC to bring her back up to date.
Ain't nothing a little new rubber and some weight displacement won't fix.
Jangalang for the win.
Rounding third and headed for home, we got the Unleashed versus the Eliminator.
There might have been a bit of a spread between these cars at the finish line, but they're both 60-footing pretty evenly at this point.
Unleashed for the win.
Up next, Unleashed versus Bob.
Rolling. Right.
Bob decided to take a nap at the starting line.
Up next, Spearmint versus the Eliminator.
I don't know if the Eliminator was sleeping or Spearmint got the jump, but that race began and ended at the starting line.
Spearmint for the win.
Well, racers, it's getting late, and we gotta clear these streets before the cops get here.
But we got time for just one more race. Annette and her little Porsche called 911.
Tony and his 1964 Dodge 330 called Moxie. I'd say we damn near saved the best race for last.
Oh, Annette got me by half a car, but we both made one hell of a pass.
You know, that was a hell of a night of racing, and a hell of a night of fun.
And that's exactly what we were looking for.
Well, brother, I'm getting thirsty. Let's get back to the real world and go downstairs to the bar.
That's a capital idea. So there's only one thing left to say.
Till next time, I'm Randy Silvis,
And I'm Tony Mollick.
and you've been watching
Slotrods.
The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. No sleeping allowed, though, you just get a glance. Don't try to swing game, yo, just let the girl dance. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. You can watch a show blow from a distance, but give her some space, son, let the girl dance.
Now that's a drag race.